YouTube, we are back with another video, man. Today we got a special Larry Bird video. The Larry Bird disrespect has honestly gone way too far, and today I'm here to dispel all of that. Let's get right into this video, man. Let's go. Y'all see the sub count right there, man? If y'all like the content, hit the subscribe button, man. Larry Bird, why has it gone too far?
So, as you guys know, recently Kevin Durant cracked the NBA's top 10 all-time scoring list, surpassing the late great Moses Malone.
Yeah, he just passed Shaq too.
While KD at age 35 is still playing fantastic, has great longevity, the overall notion in recent years he's somehow better than Larry Bird, the second best small forward in NBA history, I really don't buy.
Ooh, I'm not gonna lie, I will admit Larry Bird is not better than LeBron James to me. Now we can have that conversation in the comment section. I love you guys and we love to have the conversation. Very respectful, positive conversations. And y'all honestly be hitting me with stats I never knew before, man. Larry Bird did this, Larry Bird did that. I'd be like, what? And I ain't gonna lie, sometimes y'all be putting up a good argument against LeBron. But is he better than Kevin Durant for the second of all time greatest? In my opinion, I think that might be true. Kevin Durant only won two finals, but them finals was on the Warriors, and then Larry Bird was the leader of his team, and he led his team to what, 3 championships? He won like 3 MVP. Like, Larry Bird is that guy. He's that guy. I think he's number 2. I'll say LeBron's number 1. It's LeBron. I'm sorry, I have to admit it's LeBron. But Larry Bird is 2 all-time small forward. That's a fact. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that.
And former NBA champion John Sally, who's very vocal about these debates, echoed that exact same sentiment. As like most NBA fans Sally knows, a player's longevity, while impressive, it's kind of the side dish, the appetizer to the overall meal of an NBA debate. And if you look at Bird versus KD as individual players' all-time legacies and overall value, I think Bird still clears Kevin Durant pretty easily. As a fact, Bird from day one had an instant impact on his team, the thing few players can say.
That's a fact.
As Boston in '79, without Larry Bird, only won 29 games, the second fewest in the NBA. Compared to with Bird the very next year, and minor roster changes, they won 61, the best in the East.
And that's what I'm talking about. They hit you with stats like that. The year before Larry Bird came to the Celtics, they were terrible. Then he came there and led them to a 61-21 record. That is immense amount of pressure to put on a leader of a team in your rookie year, bro. Come on.
A pretty important note. KD, the first decade of his career, never cracked 61 wins until 2017 with the Golden State Warriors. Now, what Bird and Kevin Durant do have is being very injury prone, especially late in their careers. But if you look at prime Bird from 1980 to 88, Bird every single year was at worst a top 5 player. As in his rookie year, he finished 4th in MVP. In the next 3 years, was runner-up every single season.
I mean, he could have had
and many forget, even 87-88 was still top 3 MVP voting after winning 3 straight, which hasn't been done since Bird.
That man can have
and a
10
major
MVPs.
part of winning the MVP is great teammates. And while Larry Bird and Kevin Durant both had Hall of Fame teammates, the way KD won his championships was vastly different than Larry Bird. As in Oklahoma City, despite having Westbrook, a young James Harden, a pretty good supporting cast, only made 1 finals and won 1 finals game.
Let's talk about it, bruh. Let's talk about it, Kevin. Man, even though he was young, a lot of players have to go to another situation so they can learn. But a lot of players also don't have that much support around them at a young age like Kevin Durant had. I understand what you're saying, man.
Compared to Bird, who won 3 championships, made numerous finals with the team that drafted him. And looking at Bird's best teammates, you have Kevin McHale, Tiny Archibald, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Danny Ainge. Bird had those all-time great teammates at varying points in his career, compared to Kevin Durant, who's had vastly more talent, but still less rings. Of course, having Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, that crew in Golden State,
man, that team
Westbrook,
nasty.
James Harden, Kyrie, and Booker.
Crazy.
In his post and pre-Golden State era. And the fact KD in Brooklyn failed so miserably is something you can't say about Larry Bird and his overall career. As in Brooklyn, Kevin Durant was basically pseudo GM, calling the shots, getting the players he wanted, but still failing. The
That's
overall
tough.
structure Golden State had and still has helped Kevin Durant tremendously in winning those 2 championships. And look at the 2017 and 2018 Warriors. It is heavily debated who is the team's best player and their most valuable asset, as many Warriors fans still argue Steph Curry was the team's MVP both those seasons. Now, we can have that debate, have that conversation anytime you want to. When it comes to Larry Bird, him being the best player on his championship team was not once ever debated. I mean, look at 84 in the playoffs. For the entire postseason, he ranked first in points, first in rebounds, first in steals, and second in assists, only behind Magic.
Not Magic, but Larry Bird could honestly do everything on the floor. When they say that LeBron James is comparable to somebody like Magic Johnson, I can see it with the passing, but I honestly see him more comparable to like Larry Bird because he's out there getting the points, getting a lot of points at that, getting the rebounds, stealing the ball, blocking the ball, assists. He's doing everything out there. You see what I'm saying? He just wasn't high flying dunking like LeBron, but the man controlled the pace of the game way before people were doing that. I ain't gonna lie, Larry Bird is one of them ones, man.
And looking at his overall numbers, he was averaging well above 25 points per game.
Literally controlling the game.
50, 40, 90 splits. And unlike KD and Golden State,
And he a way better
Bird
shooter than
84
LeBron.
had no teammate above 17 points per game or close to a player like Steph Curry. And if you want
His
to
shot's so
compare
butter.
peak for peak, prime for prime, look at 86 Bird. As from start to finish that year, he dominated in all aspects. Of course, winning MVP, only 5 votes shy of being unanimous. Boston had the best record in the NBA. He won the 3-point contest, was Finals MVP, leading Boston in points, rebounds, and assists for the entire postseason with once again 50, 40, 90 splits. In my humble opinion, 84 Bird, 85 Bird, and especially 86 Bird are better than any version of Kevin Durant. And if you want to look at overall competition in the finals and the playoffs,
I ain't gonna lie. Let me not sit here and act like Kevin Durant is a bad player, because that man is a really, really good basketball player. He's a scorer. He's a dominator of a game. If you need somebody to go finish the game for you, go get Kevin Durant, because he'll go put the game away. That's for sure. But I don't know if he's the game changer like Larry Bird is. He's the game controller like Larry Bird is. Larry Bird knew every single body's position on the court, and he knew what was going to happen before it happened. That was special type of IQ that Larry Bird had, man.
Bird in his finals, he wasn't playing George Hill and J.R. Smith and a bum squad in the 2018 Cavs. The teams Bird was playing were the Showtime Lakers and the Houston Rockets with Hall of Fame big men.
Yeah.
And looking at Bird's East, of course, the 76ers, who made numerous finals, had tons of Hall of Fame talent. The Pistons, who had 3, 4, even 5 All-Star players from year to year. The Cavaliers, who had 3 All-Stars routinely. Dominique's Hawks, Jordan's Bulls. The underrated Bucks with Jack Sikma, Sidney Moncrief from that crew. The 80s East from start to finish was absolutely loaded. And Bird's finals competition, unlike Kevin Durant, was far superior. Now, once again, looking at Bird and Kevin Durant as individual players, the overall passing and playmaking gap is a massive divide between these two players. As Bird, unlike KD, was a phenomenal passer in the fast break, the half court, and especially out of the post.
That's what I'm saying.
And from Kevin McHale to Bill Walton to Danny Ainge, Larry Bird in his prime made all of his teammates better. And look, KD isn't a terrible passer, a terrible playmaker. He's gotten better in recent years. But comparing to Bird, a Magic-esque passer, it's not even a comparison between these two players in that regard. And one highly underrated part about Bird's game was his rebounding. As 7 times in 8 years, he was top 10 in that category for the entire NBA. And if you want to compare scoring the basketball, I would say yes, Kevin Durant overall was the better scorer. But the overall gap in scoring ability isn't nearly as big as the gap in playmaking and rebounding. And if you want to be 100% honest, the best Larry Bird comparison in today's NBA is someone like Jokic. Great scorer, highly efficient, a beast on the boards, and a tremendous passer.
Not super athletic.
Bird at 6'9", 6'10",
I see it.
was indeed Jokic before Jokic. And his overall offensive impact on his teammates, his franchise, was far superior than someone like KD, who's a score-first player. And if you want to talk offensive impact, look at Boston in 1988 with Larry Bird compared to 89 without him. As in 88, with Bird, they were first in offensive rating, third in points per game, first in net, first in field goal percentage, first in 3 percentage, first in true shooting percentage, and first in assists. That year, Boston undoubtedly was the best offense in the entire NBA. But only 1 year later, without Larry Bird, they go from an all-time great offense to a mediocre or below average offense. As in 89, they ranked 8th in offensive rating, 10th in scoring, 14th in net, 6th in shooting percentage, 22nd in 3 percentage, and 10th in true shooting percentage. To give you guys some perspective, how big a
that means like that's almost as big. I know I keep bringing it back to LeBron, but when you think about LeBron's my favorite player, as you guys can tell. LeBron James being on the Cavaliers in 2009, 2010, and then not being on that team in 2010, 2011, you've seen a change. That's the same exact thing with Larry Bird, but not in 2010. We're talking about in 1988 and 1989 when basketball wasn't advanced as it was before. So you have to really put into perspective how important Larry Bird was to the game of a basketball. Simple, you know what I'm saying?
drop off that truly is, Boston in 88 was a better offense than the Showtime Lakers. But in 89, they went from an all-time great offense to just not really that great.
Yeah.
And the players they still had McHale, Parrish, they had Reggie Lewis, and a really deep bench.
Yeah.
If you look at Kevin Durant's career, yes, he was highly valuable. But in terms of Larry Bird value, that type of value, Kevin Durant never has been that valuable.
Nah.
As in any of his teams, Brooklyn, Phoenix, Oklahoma City,
Maybe
especially Golden State.
Brooklyn for
his
sure.
offensive value hasn't really transcended his team or the best players in the world.
Brooklyn for
And
sure.
speaking of Golden State, the big cloud over Kevin Durant's head is not winning a championship without the Warriors. As in OKC, Brooklyn, and Phoenix, so far to this point, he's produced 0 championships and only 1 finals appearance. In the post-Golden State era, Kevin Durant has failed miserably. And until he makes a finals with the championship as his team's best player, I don't want to hear any comparison about him versus Larry Bird. And look,
Talk
like I said
about
in the
it.
opening, KD being 35, having great longevity, is fantastic in a vacuum. But if you want to compare players for players, legacy for legacy, overall value for value, longevity stats aren't the way to go. As someone like Russell Westbrook, compared to Bird total stats-wise, is far superior. But like we always say, those longevity stats are highly misleading and not the way to go in a player comparison. So really in conclusion, Larry Bird, he's still a better overall player, the greater player, with much more accolades and accomplishments in less time. So that right there is the end of the video.
The disrespect has gone too far, man. I won't lie. Larry Bird is an all-time great player. People saying that you're not understanding the importance that he had to the game is just one aspect of not respecting Larry Bird. I was watching LeBron James's podcast. I say LeBron James's name for the 100th time this episode. I understand. I get it. You don't have to say it in the comments. I know. I was watching LeBron's episode on his podcast with JJ Redick, my guy JJ Redick. I listen to him a lot. And he says to really understand basketball and be able to play basketball, you got to know the history as well. So you got to know the history of what Larry Bird has done for the game of basketball, how he's elevated the game of basketball. So disrespecting him is only putting the game that you love and that I love and we all love, because we're all in tune watching these videos about basketball down. We're putting basketball down by disrespecting this guy Larry Bird. So we can't put guys who cheat the game over him like Kevin Durant. I'm just being honest. I don't want to put guys that cheated the game and went to the best team of all time. He didn't just normally go there and just win, build a team up and win. No, the man's literally went to the greatest team, 73-9. Greatest team of all time, and then won his 2 championships and left after they lost in the finals. Larry Bird was a homegrown Celtics guy. He won his championships. He had back problems, and if he didn't have those back problems, he probably would have won some more. He was second place in MVP votings a few times, like quite a few times. So he could have had more MVPs if it wasn't for that Magic Johnson guy. And he probably would have had more championships if he had the health and he had the accessibility to the things that Kevin Durant has nowadays, man. Just think about it. Just think about it. But what I'm trying to say, man, is the Larry Bird disrespect has gone way too far, and I'm not about to play with it, man. I think Larry Bird is one of the greatest players of all time, and I think that you think the same as well. I think that Larry Bird is one of the greatest players of all time, and I want to know what you think about that as well. Is Larry Bird better than Kevin Durant, or is this whole video baloney? Is everything I'm saying baloney and Kevin Durant is just simply better? I don't think that, but y'all let me know what y'all think down below. I'll be in the comments with y'all. That's the end of this reaction though, man. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, that'd be good for me. And we out.